Testimony. The Manhattan District Courtroom was packed. The air, thick with the breath of 100 people, smelled of old books, cheap coffee, and suppressed rage. The journalists' cameras, like black empty sockets, were pointed at the man in the blue uniform sitting in the witness chair. Officer Jacob Rivers, pale, with carefully shaved cheeks and shadows under his eyes, seemed like a diminished version of himself, his fingers intertwined and untwined on the polished wooden surface. Across from him, at the prosecution's table, sat Aisha Diallo. In her dark, motionless eyes seemed to reside all the grief in the world. Her husband, Ousmane, an immigrant from Mali who worked as a courier and studied English in the evenings, was dead. A bullet fired from Rivers' service weapon had ended his life on the corner of 114th Street and Lenox Avenue 3 months ago. Lead prosecutor Elizabeth Cole stood up. Her heels tapped a quiet, measured rhythm on the oak floor, like the ticking of a clock. "Officer Rivers," she began, and her voice, soft yet clear, filled the silence. "Let's establish the chronology of events on the evening of October 12th. You were on patrol alone?" "No!" Rivers' voice was hoarse. He cleared his throat. "I was with my partner, Officer Garcia. He stayed in the car to coordinate a call about a stolen vehicle 2 blocks away." "And what drew your attention?" Rivers stared into the space before him, as if the night were being projected onto the empty wall. "Movement. In the alley between Bright Day Grocery and the abandoned warehouse. It was already dark. The street light there was broken. I saw silhouettes. 3 people. They seemed to be passing something hand to hand. One of them, tall, in a dark hoodie, noticed a patrol car and abruptly retreated deeper into the alley. His movements were nervous. Nicholas Luger, jerky. "What did you do?" "I exited the vehicle. Shouted, 'Police! Show me your hands.' The 2 young people at the mouth of the alley froze, raised their hands. But the third one, the one in the hoodie, kept backing away. He was saying something, but I couldn't make out the words. Noise from the street, the wind, and then he made a move. A sharp one, hand going to his waist. An oppressive silence hung in the room. Rivers closed his eyes for a second. "What did you feel in that moment, officer?" asked Cole. Softer now. "Fear." The word hung in the air, raw and naked. "Adrenaline." I shouted again, "Show me your hands." "Hands." But he didn't stop. He turned sideways to me, his right hand hidden by the folds of the fabric. And in the dim light from the store window, in the reflection, I thought I saw a glint, a metallic glint, a brief flash. My brain supplied the only image. A gun. He's drawing a gun. A murmur passed through the courtroom. Rivers continued, his speech now flowing in a monotone, drained stream, as if he were purging poison. "I gave the command again. Don't remember the exact words." Then he lunged. Not at me. He lunged away, deeper into the alley's darkness. But in his movement, in that lunge, his hand came out from under the hoodie. And in it, I saw it. I saw the clear, dark outline. A sawed-off. A short barrel. I was sure of it. 100%. And then I fired. Twice. As trained. To stop the threat. He fell silent. He seemed unable to speak further. Prosecutor Cole walked to her table and silently lifted a plastic evidence bag. Inside was a crumpled black item. "Officer Rivers," her voice became sharp as a scalpel again. "Do you see this item?" He looked and nodded slowly. "What is it, in your opinion?" It's the hoodie. His hoodie. And this." She lifted a second bag. Inside was a small, shiny metal cylinder. Rivers froze. His face contorted. "That's," he whispered. "This is the casing of a Huawei brand phone," Cole announced loudly, addressing the jury. "Aluminum, polished. It was found in the pocket of this hoodie. Ousmane de Leo dropped it when he ran. It fell from his hand at the very moment you, officer, saw a gun in it. The gunshots caused him to fall. He hit the wall. The cause of death was massive blood loss. The autopsy showed no alcohol or drugs in his system. His pockets contained no weapons. Only this phone, apartment keys, and a book, an English grammar textbook." Rivers seemed to shrink in his chair. He didn't look at the widow or the jury. "Officer," Cole continued, "did you undergo situational assessment training? Training that places special emphasis on interacting with immigrants who may not understand commands due to a language barrier, who may behave unexpectedly due to panic?" "Yes," came the almost inaudible reply. "And what were you told about a metallic glint? Is that sufficient criteria for identifying a weapon?" "No." "But in the context..." In the context of what? A dark alley? The ghetto? A man with dark skin? Her voice thundered now. You didn't see a gun, Officer Rivers. You saw a stereotype. You saw the monster from your own fears and news reports, and you shot at it. And Usman Diallo just happened to be in its place. He ran because he was afraid. He had an expired residency permit. He saw a police officer and was afraid of deportation. He was trying to get his phone, perhaps to call his lawyer, whose number was on his speed dial. You saw the glint of his hope for help, and you mistook it for the glint of a barrel. Rivers' defense attorney jumped up with a cry of objection, but the prosecutor's words had already hit their mark. The jurors looked at the officer with a mixture of horror and pity. The judge gave the floor to the defense. The attorney spoke about split-second decisions, extreme stress, Rivers' service record, his awards, about him acting within protocol as he was trained. But when Rivers himself was given the floor again, he raised his head. He looked around the room. The stern faces of the jurors, the judge's impenetrable mask, the grief of Aisha Diallo. I was trained to see a threat, he began, and his voice found some new, deep strength, the strength of despair. I was taught that an alley is a risk zone, that a sudden movement is a prelude to an attack, that someone who doesn't obey commands is a potential killer. I was taught all of that, but I wasn't taught to see a person, a frightened person, a person who doesn't understand my language, a person who has a wife waiting for him at home and he just wants to talk to her on this very phone. I didn't see him. The system inside me, it switched off everything else. It showed me a target, and I neutralized the threat. I was a good officer in that moment. I did exactly what I was trained to do. He looked directly at Aisha, and I killed your husband. I don't know how to live with that, and I don't know how to fix the system inside me that brought me here. I only saw what I was prepared to see, and that was enough. His words dissolved into silence. There were no shouts, no tears. There was only a heavy, unbearable clarity. The story had taken its 10 minutes, but its echoes, the question of where trained instinct ends and bias begins, where defense ends and murder begins, this question would resonate in that courtroom, in that city, in that country, for much, much longer. The judge announced a recess, and the jurors silently filed out, carrying with them the unbearable burden of choice, to condemn one man or to question the system that created his actions.